It's interesting, isn't it? It's fascinating. Life has changed since I was born in the 60s. America had problems in the 60s. We had Vietnam, we had the 60s uprising of the youth. We had Jimi Hendrix, we had drugs and stoners and crack cocaine and PCB and barbiturates and marijuana and speed, PCPs, angel dust. But guess what? We still had women that were sweet. Look at this. Look at this. I want to show you something. That's not Marsha Brady. That's the lady on The Mamas and the Papas, California Dreamin'. What a pretty thing. No dyed blonde hair. Probably got some sun going on in it. Petite, slender, nice looking face. On looks alone, I'd date a woman that looked like that in a heartbeat today. You can't find them. They don't exist. That woman right there was very common when I was growing up. The Marsha Brady look, the natural beauty. And we went from that to this, right here, to this. No thanks. What is that? I Dream of Jeannie in black? I mean, seriously. How about this one? We don't have real beauty today, folks. Those boobs look like basketballs. They're not genuine. That hair's not genuine. That outfit doesn't look good on her. In fact, the whole look is awful. Oh, I know. People say, well, that's your opinion. No, that's a fact. That's not pretty. That fell out of a cereal box. That's our women today, folks. Batitude, rude, ugly outfits, showing cleavage. That's not even natural. Nobody looks like that. They look like two dinner plates shoved in there. And people get mad at me. Oh, they get offended when I criticize those artists. But look at this. Now, here's an exception to the rule. She was beautiful before she got commercialized. That's Alicia Keys. Pretty face, slender, petite. She still looks feminine. I loved her in that song, Fallen. It had soul. It was real. Music today has taken a dive. Looks have taken a dive. Women spend more on hairstyles, wigs, weaves, makeup than this right here. Women don't spend anything on this anymore. Zero. Back when I was a kid, this was common. This was the norm. Pretty, sweet. And I bet you, at my age, if I was to go back in time, I could get a date with a woman like that without any problem. There wasn't the high maintenance. There wasn't the attitude. There wasn't the expectation that I meet all these ridiculous requirements like today. You want to get a date with an attractive, slender woman. You're not going to get a woman like that. You'll get a petite one. She's probably on drugs or anorexic. If she is good looking, she's dyed her hair fake blonde. The dark eyebrows give it away. The face is glopped with makeup and she's got hideous clothing from Dress Barn or you got it at Ross, Target, whatever. And I'm entitled to my opinion. People judge the hell out of me all my life. They've judged me for my thick glasses, my red hair. They judge it when it was long. They judge it when it was short. They judge me for my clothes. But I'm natural. No piercings, no tats. I'm different. Am I strange? I guess it depends on who you ask. when I look at women today and all the requirements they have on us, and they're not even natural anymore, I just shake my head. I shake my head. What happened to that? I love that song. California Dreamin'. California used to be a good place. When that song was written, it was a good place. You had every ecosystem. You had Death Valley. You had below sea level. You had the Sierra Nevadas. You had Mount Whitney, Mount Shasta, Mount Lassen, Mammoth Mountain. You had the Mendocino Coast and the Redwood Forest and Sequoia National Forest, and you had the ocean, Laguna and Malibu and San Clemente, Huntington, Redondo. What happened to California? Now it's ruled by lunatics. It's ruled by liberals. And liberals aren't pretty. And liberals aren't smart. They want us to believe they're smart. They're not. They got a college degree, but they're not smart. They got positions of power, but they're not leaders. They think that they're better than everybody else. They're not. They're going to hell. They're literally walking on the broad road to hell. Women today that cuss like a sailor, and I see black women, a lot of them aren't pretty. I'm just going to say it. A lot of this under the arms and a lot of obesity, cleavage, all those zebra stripes down their legs and all those cellulite, and the attitude, the minute they open their mouth, you just go, you know what? Your mouth is as ugly as you. No class. All sass. And what's sad is there's guys that like that. Then guys enable and embolden them to be that way. They put them on a pedestal. They can do no wrong. They think, that's my queen. Really? I can say this. I've been mocked and teased all my life because my judgment is more accurate than their people had on me. You don't see women like that anymore. You just don't. And if you do see pretty women close to that, they're either into ex-convicts or they're into other women. They're not into us. What happened? I could just see Ricky go, Lucy, what happened? You got some explaining to do. What happened? And it's sad because, no, I don't think I'm God's gift to women, but I'm certainly not second place. I'm certainly not unworthy to date a woman that's comparable to my physique. But in America, it's not going to happen. It's a ghost town for the dating scene. Unless you have a fat wallet or you're a jerk. Truly. Women don't like nice music anymore. They don't like nice things. They're edgy. They're vulgar. They're nasty. What happened? What happened to that sweet woman? I watched her dancing. How about these ladies? Every time I hear that song, I get choked up. It was so beautiful. It kind of cut off her face, sadly. But that's the 3 degrees. When will I see you again? Beautiful black women with sweet countenances. Sweet countenances. They just looked sweet. I was speaking with a black woman at the flea market this week. She's 65 and she's beautiful. And we were talking about all the unhealthiness out there. The smoking and the drinking and the drugs. She said, Michael, there's people half my age that look older than me. I said, you and me both. I was playing her this music. I said, do you notice the faces? She goes, oh, they looked happier. Playing Lou Rawls. What are the role models for people today? When I was a kid, Lou Rawls, the Spinners, the Temptations, I mean, they had good music. And the guys had good attitudes. They weren't. Now you got these guys that can't sing. They just do this cadence and it's Angry Bird. It's GHETTO. What do they call that? Talent. What the heck? When ladies were ladies, it's like an endangered species today. The good women at my age are taken. The ones that are left over are jaded, callous, burnt, spent, freight trains, rusty freighters waiting to be scrapped. Oh, people will get mad at me, but it's the truth. All these single women my age that have burned through men and burned through relationships, and it's all the men's fault. All the men's fault. It's always all the men's fault. They were abusive. They drank. They this, they that. What about you? You're telling me that you're Jesus? You're telling me you walk on water? You're telling me you're without sin? You telling me that you lived your life so perfect and didn't do anything? Like the fact you chose to marry this clown? Yeah, you definitely got something to do with this. Why did he abuse you? Because you yelled and screamed in his face? That doesn't give a right to man to touch me. It doesn't give you a right to scream in a man's face. The ugliness of the females today in our culture is sobering. What happened to sweetness and femininity? Not feminism, femininity. When women think it's okay to kill their baby and say it's my choice, yeah, but you had choice before you had sex and you didn't use that, did you? Don't talk to me about choice when it comes to murder. Talk to me about choice before you open your legs, toots. What about all the rapes? How many rapes versus how many I opened my legs willingly? How many? How many of the 61 million children were killed in this country because you opened your legs? You weren't raped. Give me a break. What a joke. You're selfish. You want your cake and eat it too. Then we wonder why we got all these throwaway children today. Acting bad on the buses, acting bad in the schools, getting on TikTok thinking they're stars with their mental and cyber pollution. It's sad. And you can't speak truth to these people. You can't speak truth to these Cardi B fans and Minaj culture. You can't break through that. If you try to, you're casting your pearls before swine. And you got women today that let their bodies go over a cliff like an Amtrak lost its brakes on a grade, and it's like putting lipstick and jewelry on a piggy. And those are the ones judging and mocking me. I'm almost 60 and I'm in better shape than them and I look better naked than they do. And these women have a attitude that doesn't quit. They don't have a conscience. They don't have any shame. I don't care what they think about me. I've been exposed to it. It's sobering. When will the free fall of circle the drain culture come to an end? You look at all these women getting on YouTube lives, and every other word is the B word and the F word and the N word. And they did their nails, they did their hair, spent $300 for their hair, spent 0 cents on this and this. And you know what drives that? Simp men. Men that want to taste that, and lick that, hug that, and kiss that. Yuck! I need to take a shower at the thought. I should never care what that generation of what I just described cares. They don't have the blessing of the Almighty, and they never will with all of that hanging off of them. It's funny, you can be Neanderthal and barbaric and think you're right in your thinking, but the first two descriptives I gave cancel that out. If you're Neanderthal and barbaric, your thinking ain't working. It's broken, busted, wrecked, ruined. So you see things through a primitive lens. Guys want to eat out of your trough. They want to lick at your pig pen. And it emboldens you to think, ha, I know I'm a queen. A Jezebel spirit, rebellious and foul and hateful. They'll hate me for saying these kinds of things. Look at this guy judging me. You don't got no right to judge. Want to bet? I did and I will, and it's given to me in that book. By their fruits you shall know them, and the fruit of your mouth is rotten. The worms won't even live there, honey bunch. It's toxic. But men go after that. Men go after women that dress and act like boys. They want a girl to work on a car and sweat like a man and wear blue jeans like a man and wear baseball hats on backwards and cargo pants and hoodies and look like a man. It's a very ironic thing. It's a very ironic thing. We are living in the last days. You can see the progression. You can see the progression from that to what it is today. You can see the progression from California dreaming to WAP. California dreaming was good. WAP needs to be flushed in the toilet, sent down the sewer from whence it came. Instead, creators and artists and musicians are getting their inspiration from the sewer, regurgitating filth and waste and excrement and calling it talent. All it attracts is flies that like to eat feces. I know people don't like my assessment, but I speak the truth. No one can prove that wrong. You listen to stuff like that, you don't have a conscience. You may not have a soul. You get entertained by that. You make me nervous. It's that same culture that have no problem killing us, mocking, ridiculing, supporting violence and riots. Yeah, good stuff. Great stuff, folks. All the leaves were brown and the skies were gray. I've been for a walk on a winter's day. I never thought I'd say this growing up in LA. The music's taking a dive. I'd have to work on the rhyme part, but it's changed. And you parents out there aren't talking to your children about this. When a grown woman is twerking to Cardi B in front of her 3-year-old, and then the family members put that on TikTok when a 3-year-old sitting there with no diaper on twerking to that, and they think it's cute and funny. but they'll laugh at us. They'll laugh at my culture. I have a friend in Ohio. He was working with an African American at Amazon a few years ago, and a guy walked up just out of the blue and said, "You whites have no culture." I said, "Tony, I wish I was there. I would have told him off right on the spot. I would have said, 'Let me tell you something, young dude. We don't have a culture, huh? What do you define as culture? Rap? Cardi B? Riots? BLM? What's the definition of culture?' Sit down in a chair right there, young man, and let me tell you a story about classical music. Rachmaninoff, Mozart, Mendelssohn, Tchaikovsky, Debussy, Mussorgsky, Dvorak, Copland. You see, that music's been around longer than this rap crap and will still outlast it. Rap music doesn't evoke romance, grandeur, and class. It evokes graffiti and bullets and blood curdling screams and grand theft auto and just horrible stuff. Unshaven armpit women out there going, "Ah, ah," and with their fake hair and their fake weaves. We don't have a culture? Huh. White people invented the Marconi wireless, which sent out the distress call from the sinking Titanic. They invented the calculator, the radio, the stereo, the hi-fi, the record player, the phonograph, the telephone, the production of the automobile, Henry Ford, first in flight, the Wright brothers, which happened to be white. We don't have a culture, but Shakespeare wrote literature. In fact, there is no great literature that we can go back to that's black. There's no classical masterpiece music that we can go back to and say is black. Well, let's look at the artists. No, not Prince and Jackson. Let's talk about artists. Rembrandt, Van Gogh, Monet. Let's talk about those. We don't have a culture. Look at the buildings that white people built going all the way back to Europe. Look at the beauty of them, the stones and the bricks and the design. And look at the businesses that people go into today, and look at the buildings now and how ghastly they are. A strip mall and a Dollar Tree and a hair and nail salon. Yeah, they're beautiful, aren't they? Hotels and schools used to have grand staircases and fancy banisters and balustrades and wrought iron and leaded glass windows and woodwork and high ceilings with big chandeliers with crystals. And there was a sense of romance. There was a sense of awe. My culture did that. And the thing that a lot of people who make statements that whites have no culture fail to realize is they throw us into one basket of whites. I don't know how it is that I can't get people to understand that. I gotta find something. So, this is white. If you get the crayons in a box, and I want you to tell me that these are the same. And then I want you to take a black person and get the black crayon out of the box and hold it up their skin, and you'll find it doesn't match. It's brown. The brown crayon matches the so-called black. I'm Irish. I'm reddish. The Bible talks about Esau. He was red and hairy. That Irish are known for a ruddy, reddish complexion. And Ireland is a culture. And they came up with the jig. They came up with the dancing that went to that. Austria is a culture. Germany is a culture with their oompa, oompa music. You go to Switzerland, the Swiss is a culture. The British, the Scottish with the bagpipes and the kilts. And you want to tell me that we don't have a culture? I beg your pardon, little punk, talking to my friend. Oh, I wish I'd have been there. Said your culture is what? Hatred, riots, stealing something, killing your own, worse than any other ethnicity is to you. What did you contribute to society? Not much. See, we can live without your culture. You could not live without ours. That thing you're holding, that phone, you didn't invent it. Your culture didn't invent it. That furniture you're sitting on, the house, all that, you didn't build it, you didn't design it, you didn't make the car you drive, you didn't make any of this infrastructure. People talk about the slaves built this country. No, they didn't. They picked cotton and tobacco. They did not. They did not build these grand buildings. You know who built these grand buildings and Capitol buildings and the buildings in Chicago that are just beautiful? I'm talking the old one. You know who built those? White boys. Yeah. Later on, they used some natives to build the skyscraper, the Empire State Building, because of their sure-footedness on the iron. Blacks didn't build these magnificent buildings. Monet, Rembrandt, Van Gogh, they weren't black. Shakespeare wasn't black. All the classical musical composers from Russia to Italy to France to everywhere. Some of the most beautiful classical music came out of dreary, cold, frozen north. Something about winter, something about harsh climates produces beauty. But you know what's sad? You can go to Africa. And the village people produce better music than what you hear in our Afrocentric culture in the US. Rap music today is Neanderthal, and that goes for Eminem. That goes for all of them. It's just angry. It's not talent. It's awful. Go tell somebody to turn that down when it's being pumped in your home. If you want to make an argument that your music is so great, look at your attitude. Look at your lack of manners and respect when somebody says, dude, that's shaking my house. Watch what happens. You're not going to get class. Oh, I'm sorry, man. You're not going to get that. You're going to get cussing. You could get shot or beat up. Oh, they'll turn it up even more. Notice that about classical music? Nobody's ever used classical music to anger and offend people. People that listen to classical music are not a danger to you. Let that soak in. You don't have to go to college to be smart. You just got to use your brain. And most people that went to college, they didn't do that. They checked their brains at a socialistic institution that's trying to unravel anything that makes sense. You know, like the Constitution, you know, like the Holy Bible. Science class, that's the first thing they do. There is no God. Not in your life. But guess what? When you drop dead and you're no longer on the alumni board here, you're going to meet him. And what are you going to say? There is no God? What are you going to say, bruh? And you're going to find out you lived a lie. Give me that kind of a woman over this any day. This is a YouTube She was sitting there saying the B word, P-U-S-S-Y, the N word. Look at the face. You want to wake up to that every day? She got the look, baby. She'd put a knife in your back when you weren't looking. Or she might do it when you are. There's a whole bunch of YouTube artists on there, legends in their own mind. She's, you know, got a handful of people watching. But guess what? You have to realize that we're living in a day where they're calling good evil and evil good. And the ones that are getting all the hits and the views are the ones promoting unrighteousness rather than righteousness. That lady behind me needs to get into the descriptive of what a godly woman is. And so does this one. This is a white girl that was attitude all the way. She had a half shirt on, was throwing things around in the kitchen and foul as all get out. Then you see this. I have nothing positive to say about that. That hair is so ugly. It's so fake. I look at pictures of African Americans in the 50s and 60s when they had their natural hair. They were so pretty. They looked so soft and sweet. And how does you like to make love and run your fingers through that? And run your hands over those silicone implants. And when she gets mad at you, wouldn't that be fun? A godly woman she is not. And people get so angry when I criticize them. Oh, did I hurt your feelings because I criticized your idol? She didn't walk on water. She didn't heal the sick and heal the lame and forgive people their sins. She didn't promise eternal life. And listening to her music doesn't give me peace. Boom. Yeah. The look has changed. The attitude has changed. And the reason a lot of guys aren't getting a date anymore is because women have lost their damn minds. Not all, but a lot of them. We got a young generation. You are what you eat. You are what you listen to. You are what you take in. Lies or truth. If you sit at CNN, you're never going to be exposed to the truth. You sit at the major networks, you're being lied to. You go to college, most of them are going to teach you something that says this is bunk. Choice is yours. You listen to crappy music, you're going to be a crappy person with crappy manners or no manners, no class, no conscience. And the only people that are going to respect you is the garbage that flies on a breezy day down the gutter. And people get mad when I said, how can you call people trash? They made themselves that way. If they get saved, God could turn them into something beautiful, but you're listening to that, and every other word out of your mouth is the N word, the F word, and B, and yeah, you're trash. You're garbage. You put yourself there. I don't care what those women think of me. I already know. They don't like nice. They don't like good things. They don't like the truth. So they're just going to get mad. They're just going to say yucky things because that's what they do. Why would we expect any different? But the sad thing is grown men chase that around. I wouldn't have sex with her or Minaj or any of those chicks. Even if they walked in my house naked and said, hey, I'd be like, hey, get out of the way. No thanks. No thanks. They wouldn't pursue me anyway. Having that woman live in this house would be like having a human wrecking ball. And snakes aren't just the ones that slither on the ground. They're the ones that have two legs. Y'all have a nice day. Thank you for listening. Careful what you listen to. Careful who you believe. You can't talk to this generation of clowns. They'll yell and scream and say hateful things because that's all their music is capable of leading them into. Not peace, not love, not joy, not a relationship with God, just a attitude, judging everybody around them except their own selves. Isn't it fun? See, I look at myself, I judge myself. I judge when I do wrong and I try to get a grip on it, not make the same mistake again. But this young generation, they don't like being criticized. Shoot, they shot Charlie Kirk because they didn't like what he had to say. This young generation's scary. The only way they know how to solve a problem is by shooting or beating up somebody. Those aren't problem solving skills. That's the jungle coming soon to a theater near you. We better speak out against it. We better stop being afraid, the rest of us. And we better stand up and rise up and say, you know what? We're tired of this. You want to talk about Homeland Security? Go get Homeland Security on this offensive, vile, hateful, violent music. Shut it down. Get Homeland Security on GTA, and all that other violent video games. Why are we encouraging kids to steal cars? Grand Theft Auto. Whoever made that has made a fortune off of it. And people get mad at me. They argue with me. Oh, that doesn't make me violent. So why would you role play stealing people's cars? You're going to tell me I'm supposed to believe good stuff? Not the way. Not the way. So for me, I'll go back to the good old days. This is extinct. And I'm from California, and I still love the song, and I still California dream, if only it could be what it used to be. That's a pretty lady. Welcome to 2025. How do you get through to that generation? The only thing you can do is pray that God intervenes in their lives. That generation that listens to that crappy music, they're emotionally driven only. They don't go by fact. They don't go by truth. They don't go by, the Bible says, whatsoever things are lovely, noble, pure, of good report, think on such things. Well, that pretty much condemns Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, and all the rap music. And then the women with their language and the N word, and men, grown men, saying, what up, Nigga, what up? You're showing the fruit of who's your master. And you say you're not slaves? You are. To sin, to Satan. You might want to get that in check. Because you were released from being slaves to the plantations. But some of y'all are slaves to the devil. And it shows by the fruit of your music, the fruit of your style, and the fruit of your attitude, and your hatefulness, and your vile speech. That's all the signs that you are walking with the devil. And then you're going to turn around and say, God bless. What you talking about, Willis? I don't think so. I don't think so. The rest of us need to speak out against this. Don't be intimidated by their culture. That's what the devil wants. You're going to look them right in the eye and say, I'm sorry you're listening to sewage. You get offended, you deal with it. You know, I don't need to apologize. I don't have anything good to say about that stuff, and nor should I. People say that's not my opinion. That's a fact. There was music. That ain't music. It's trash. It's a culture that's down to the embers. It's a culture that's burning itself out to the ashes. It's a society that's circling the drain. You go back to when I was a kid and it was Saturday Night Fever, and yeah, some of the parents didn't like, you always had that, but Saturday Night Fever never encouraged riots or Cardi B or Nicki Minaj culture and all the cussing and the B word and the foulness. Had a black guy recently come up and said, "Oh, would you listen to the Beach Boys?" I said, "As a matter of fact, I did." What'd you listen to? Snoop Poopy Poo that got the N-word stuck all over his shoey shoe? You want to talk to me and tell me I'm wrong and you throw the N-word around. It's funny, Hispanics don't call each other S-P-I-C-K. Asians don't call each other G-O-O-K. Those are racial epithets. Only black people call each other the N-word. Well, it doesn't mean the same thing. Your rationalization and justification is sick. It's so wrong. It's a racial epithet. And you say it doesn't mean the same thing, but if a white guy says it, you're ready to kill. I'm not the highest intellectual in the land, but I know enough to hear that and go, you know, I think you're hypocritical. People that use that word are not high class scholars. People that sing that word and all the profanity are not what I call class acts. Those aren't artists. We have to realize when you see them lowering the bar in our society, every job I work at now, these people are coming in late, showing up 2 hours late. They don't get in trouble. We're lowering the bar to accommodate people instead of saying, you know what, you're coming late again, you're done. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Calling good evil and evil good. Isn't it fun? All right, folks. Thanks for listening to the rant. Stay tuned.